Hi everyone, it's Eliza and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you the winter themed book tag by Marissa Wrights. I thought it'd be the perfect time to snuggle up in something warm with a cup of tea and share with you some kind of wintry books. These are books I may read in winter or that I just think fit the tag, or ones that I've already read depending on the question. If I glance that way, it's because I have my laptop with the questions. So, question number 1. Falling snow. The colours of winter are muted. Choose a book that has whites, light blues and greys on the cover. I have a stack for this. Starting off with 2 books that I have previously read by Ragnar Jonasson. We have The Darkness and The Girl Who Died. Both very uplifting titles. These fit into the new kind of genre that's referred to as Nordic noir, so dark kind of thriller books from the Nordic countries. I was really engrossed in both of these when I read them, and I think if you want a dark kind of thriller, either of these would do the trick, and I am interested in eventually picking up some more by the author. I have 5 more that would fit into this category that I have not read yet, and a few more of them are thrillers too. I'm pretty sure this first one is Swedish, After She's Gone by Camilla Grebe. This follows some detectives investigating a cold case with some bones that were never claimed to belong to anybody. And one of the detectives, actually has dementia. So I thought that was an interesting kind of element to put into one of these, because I've read other thrillers with unrelatable narrators, and I think dementia is a new one that I don't think I've actually read before. The next one is another thriller, 3 Hours by Rosamund Lupton. This is about a school that's under siege by a gunman, and I think we follow the students, the teachers, and also the psychologist who's trying to communicate with the gunman. And I believe the whole book takes place over those 3 hours. It's a really frightening thing to think about. We read thrillers and murder mysteries and everything for entertainment, but when you think about the reality of all of those themes, it is really dark. And I think reading about them in fiction can help us navigate how we feel about those things. There's a lot of Scandinavian fiction happening here, because the next one is Witches of Vardø, which is set in Norway in the 1600s. This book is written by Anya Bergman and follows the story of a few different women in this world, in this period in history, including accusations of witchcraft. Another one set in Sweden is Stolen. I actually bought this when I was in Sweden, and it was from one of the bookshops in the Gamla stan in Stockholm, which is the old town, and they had lots of Swedish fiction and then also translated works too. It really irritates me when there's stickers that aren't actually stickers and you can't take them off, but alas, this book sounded really good. It follows the story of Elsa, who's a young girl who witnesses a violent crime. She grows up and time goes on, and then it looks like there's going to be some kind of payback for her being a witness to something. Lucky last for this, we have The Wolfwilder, which is about a girl and her mother who are wolfwilders. I don't actually know what that means, so do they live wildly like wolves, or try to domesticate wolves, or try to keep wolves wild? I don't know. There are some images throughout, as you can kind of see, and it's set in Russia, so very snowy. Let's get on to question 2, which is Crackling Fires. Colder weather makes for the perfect time to sit by a crackling fire in the fireplace, or as I like to do, putting a fireplace on the big screen from YouTube. What book is the best to curl up next to a warm fire with? I'm currently dabbling into this book of short stories, which is Winter Tales, written by Dawn Casey and illustrated by Zana Goldhawk. This has some of the most beautiful illustrations. It is about stories from around the world set in the winter time. And it includes some places that you don't really associate with snow and winter. There are tales in here from Mexico, Southern Africa, China, Greece. I like that there's diversity in the tales themselves and the locations of where they're from, that it's not just very Eurocentric. So I've really been enjoying reading some of these before bed. Question number 3 is Ice Storm. Winter storms can be brutal. What book do you love that takes the characters through a brutal season? Hello, the whole set of The Hunger Games, obviously. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially through a brutal season. And literally, if I didn't say that already. If you haven't read The Hunger Games yet, what have you been doing? Jump on the bandwagon because it is actually worth it. Don't diss on it just because it's aimed or marketed as young adult, because there's a lot of depth to it. The writing style is good. The characters are fantastic. Ugh. It'll get ya. These are my special ones that I've had for ages. I'll pick up Mockingjay because it's the most wintry looking. So in short, as much as one can about the Hunger Games, which is really rich and deep in terms of the world building, it's essentially about teenagers who are reaped or picked to be in the Hunger Games, in which they all must fight to the death, and there's only one victor each year. Oppressive government structures? Tick. People fighting for survival? Tick. Corruption? Tick. Propaganda? Tick. Related to the real world and things that have already happened / things that could happen / themes that are prevalent and relevant now, even if we're literally not pitting kids against each other to fight to the death. Yes, it's all there. I don't need to say anymore. Number 4, winter wishes. Spending more time indoors allows for more time to dream and wish. What character is living the life that you dream about? Ooh, I have one. This is one of my favorite books, and the character has got, in some ways, a really good deal. It is Circe by Madeline Miller. Circe follows the story of Circe from Greek mythology, who is the daughter of the sun god. It follows how she is exiled. She lives on an island mostly by herself, but she does get visitors, and she pretty much is the first witch. She's at one with nature and develops magical powers. Her best friends are animals, and she just gets to roam her island, practicing magic and living how she wants. Of course, in the story, she's exiled there. She didn't really choose to be there. She's banished, and anyone can kind of rock up, and yet she can't just like leave whenever she wants. So that's the downside. As long as you could leave when you wanted to and have people over who you wanted to, which isn't how she's living. But I think she does the best with what she's got, and that's all we can really do. Right. Question 5 is hot cocoa. There is nothing like a cup of hot cocoa during the winter. As adults, we often underestimate it. What book do you think should be the next big thing? I'm gonna say Annie Bot by, I forgot who it is, someone Greer, Sierra Greer. It's quite a short book. It's, I think, less than 250 pages, but oh my gosh, I devoured it. Annie Bot follows the story of a female robot who is bought and produced in the first place and designed to basically cater to her, like a human man who she is bought by, his every whim, if you know what I mean. We follow Annie as she is in a relationship with the man who bought her. It's really interesting being in her psyche, seeing how she develops her own consciousness and her moral compass, and has her own desires and things that she wants to see and do, because her whole existence is limited to being his companion and plaything. We do see other robots in the story, and we see what other humans think of robots and the people who have robots, because not everyone's on board with it. It brought up a lot of questions and themes that are relevant now, especially with technology and AI heading in the direction that it is. And yes, it seems far-fetched, like a robot developing consciousness and having companion robots for men, but is it? Like, it's not, if you look at what's happening. There's times when you're really uncomfortable. There's times when you really feel for Annie and you feel bad for her. It's interesting witnessing the relationship between her and the man. Sorry, I forgot his name. He's so nice sometimes to her, and other times he treats her like trash. But then in the first place, he's not with a human woman. He's with a robot. Like, he's chosen to get a female robot. There's so much to unpack. Like, I would love to discuss it with someone else. And I haven't seen that many people review it on YouTube either. I saw this book originally for the first time from Marissa, who I'll link, and that made me want to pick it up, so I got it from the library. I just think it's just like so prevalent. All the things in it are really relevant and prevalent right now. It's just, I got a lot out of it, and it got a lot out of me. I think it gave me a little more insight into how I feel about artificial intelligence, but then also it brings up more questions that I hadn't thought of too. So yeah, Annie Bot. Next one, chapter 6, no, question 6, lip balm and lotions. Soothing dry skin is part of the winter for many. What book is full of soothing and comforting words? One of the books that I listened to actually on audiobook last year, which I really loved, and it's really short, so if you have the time, do it, was The Little Mermaid by Hans Christian Andersen. This also makes sense because she would have been underwater for so long, and so coming out of the water, her skin would be super dry. So she'd need that lotion to stay moisturized. The writing in The Little Mermaid is so beautiful, and I really enjoy like underwater descriptions and scenery. Like as a kid, I was obsessed with under the sea. I wanted to be a mermaid as well, so just FYI. There is insta love in it, like it is a fairy tale. I think if you kind of move past that and just accept that for what it is, the rest of it is just so beautiful, and it's sad, but like in a nice way. It's definitely got a bit of sweetness to the story, especially if you know the original story and how it's about Hans Christian Andersen, because he was gay or queer of some variety and loved another man, and of course that wasn't accepted at the time in what, 1800s Denmark. We're all familiar with like the Little Mermaid Disney version, but if you were looking for some kind of fairy tale that gets you a bit in the feels, that's meaningful and a little sad but also hopeful in some ways too, with some magic involved, I think The Little Mermaid is a really great one. And I can't believe I hadn't read front to back. I know I was listening via audio, but front to back hadn't listened to the original. It was beautiful. My breath was taken away. Lucky last, number 7, Peppermint Mocha. Ooh, that sounds nice. What is your go-to winter food or drink for those reading marathons of winter? If I'm reading at a cafe, I'll definitely buy a coffee. If I'm at home, I'll just drink a few cups of tea. English breakfast or Irish breakfast or New York breakfast with milk. As for snacks, a sweet treat like a cinnamon bun or a milk bun, pain au chocolat, chocolat croissant. I want to pretend like I am in Scandinavia again, being cozy and all hygge inside. If it's going to be crappy weather, I might as well pretend I'm somewhere where I can enjoy it. I hope that wherever you are, whether it's summer or winter, you are having the best time and reading some of the best things. Ooh. Let's make it so it doesn't look weird on my head. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.